evening, everybody, and welcome to another great episode of Philly Sports Talk. Thanks for joining us. We are Cash and Chris. We're going to talk everything Philly sports, but as usual, and as lately, we'll start off with the Philadelphia 76ers. They dropped the first game of the Hawks series, and they're playing tonight as we are on the air, which is going to be a pretty exciting show. I'm here with my co-host, Chris. What's up, Chris?
Hey, Cash, what's going on? You're right. Sixers on right now after a tough game that they had Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, and by 1:15 it seemed like that game was pretty much over. And tonight it looks like a different story.
Yeah, well, we figured they'd make adjustments, and that's how playoff series work. You know, one team adjusts after the first game, and then they'll probably adjust back to us after this game, but I look for the Sixers to come out strong, and they have. They've come out, they're up to a 14-point lead. And they're doing everything right so far, of course. all the nerves heading into this show, into this game, which were, justified after watching the first game. But the second half was a different half. I think if you go with Ben Simmons and Thibault on Trae Young to start the game, it's a different game. I don't understand the Danny Green move.
Well, the only thing I can say about that was it was to see if Danny could actually play him, which it couldn't. I think Doc went with him way too long once he realized what was going on. It was a situation, I think maybe he didn't want to get Simmons into foul trouble and hope that Simmons could stay on the floor and be more of a factor offensively. And it just, nothing worked out in that game, and hopefully what we're seeing now is that the adjustments made are going to continue through this series, and we'll see the Sixers against the Nets like everybody thought. Now, here's the problem with that. Well, it looks like, and kind of facetiously, I'll make a tweet every now and then, which I did today. It's like, this series really looks like it's not going to matter because it's going to be the Nets and the Suns.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
Wow, the way they're playing.
Yeah, and that's without James Harden, which is amazing.
Unless it's just a situation where Milwaukee's just crumbling again in the playoffs, or it's a situation where KD is just that good and there's no one really on Milwaukee who can stop him, and maybe the Sixers have a player who can do that. Yeah,
they might be able to stop him, but then who's stopping Kyrie Irving? And then by the time we play them, Harden will probably be back. If we play them. We're jumping to conclusions. Right. But it looks like we've done the right thing so far here. It's all Sixers. They're up 14 in the first. It's not going to be a 42-point first quarter for the Hawks tonight.
No, it's not. And I think when the Sixers play the Nets, what they'll do is just play a zone. I'm just kidding. That won't happen. Throw that zone at them, and then whatever side the ball goes to, that's whose responsibility it is.
Yeah, I still want to see this series. I mean, it's even if we do win tonight, it's going to be tough to go down to Atlanta and get a win. I always worry about road playoff games, and it's funny. It's the worst when your team loses a playoff game. Those days in between. So yesterday and all day today, you don't know how to feel. Do you feel that was just a fluke? They had to win one, or do you feel like, are we not good enough? But the Sixers are the number one seed. They're the number one seed for a reason. They're the better team. Atlanta just shot the lights out. I think that's all it was. And I think we go down to Atlanta, split at worst, come back home, win Game 5. And even if you don't put it away in 6, you should be able to win Game 7 at home.
Well, look what the Clippers did. They had a threat from Dallas, and I don't think, looking at that series, anybody thought that Dallas was going to win the series. And they went up 2-0, and it was like, well, what's the situation here with the Clippers? But like you said, the better team got themselves together, and it did take 7, but in 7 games they were able to win it.
Yeah, I think that was the first time in NBA history that the road team won the first 6 games of a series, of a playoff series.
Amazing.
Yeah. And, in the end there, like you said, the better team won.
Yeah, the same thing happened in the other series, too, out west, where obviously what we saw, the Jazz lose Game 1 to Memphis. Right. And, of course, they came back and won 4 straight. And I do think, as much as we've seen Damian Lillard and how good he really is, Denver was a better team than Portland. I don't think they're better than the Suns, though.
No, I don't either. I watched the first half of last night's game, and I just don't see. I've never been a fan of Denver. I don't see it. They're starting a guy, Capazzo, who is a 29-year-old rookie, and they're starting Austin Rivers, who they signed to a 10-day contract about a month before the season was over. So there's two guys. It's 2/5 of a lineup that barely played during the season. I know they had injuries. I know Jamal Murray's missing. They added Aaron Gordon. Aaron Gordon, by the way, he's a changed guy. I didn't even recognize him last night. He used to look like the Ultimate Warrior out there. Now he looks like King Kong Bundy.
Yeah, I know. My goodness.
He got big. I said, "Who is that guy?" He lost all his muscles. He must have been on something like that. He was on steroids. They would have tested him for that. But I don't think he lifts weights anymore.
That was that Nugenics testosterone that you can get there. Testosterone support that you can pick up there at Walmart. but what you just said is completely true. But also in what you said, you just really buried the Portland Trailblazers, which is one of those teams where everyone looks at like they should be doing better than what they do. And once it came to the playoffs, it was obvious that Denver was the better team, even though Denver's not a team good enough to go any further.
Yeah, and Portland's already fired their coach, and I hear rumors that Damian Lillard's going to ask for a trade. So if things don't go well for the Sixers, that's a question I have for you. Would you trade Ben Simmons for Damian Lillard? And I'm pretty sure you're going to say yes.
I would, and here's the thing. The only reason right now that would be my reaction to that is because it's like, well, if Ben plays like he did in Game 1, obviously, you would want Damian Lillard there. I mean, even just the fact of him shooting 3 for 10 from the foul line is a problem. Now, you can look at that and say, well, the Sixers would have won that game if he was making his foul shots. Well, you don't know how that game would have progressed. If those foul shots would have gone in, and what different things would have happened with Atlanta and all. I mean, it's always easy to look back and say, well, if he didn't shoot 3 for 10, the Sixers win that game by 3 points.
Right.
That's a little hard to say. But, yeah, of course, especially if the Sixers are ousted in this round, or if it looks like they're completely overmatched by Brooklyn next round, I would say you'd have to at least really consider making a trade. And
definitely,
I know, yeah, and I know that they were looking to move him for James Harden earlier. It's just certain pieces I don't think the Sixers were willing to get rid of.
Yeah, Matisse Thybulle.
Right, and the Sixers did not have the draft picks to give up.
Right.
As Brooklyn did.
Right. Taryn checks in on the message board. So far, so good for the Sixers. They're rolling. The Hawks look like a fruit roll-up. Yeah.
Well, until that alley-oop dunk right there, and it looks like
they scored 4 straight.
Yeah, probably here by the end of the quarter, it'll be a 3 or 4 point game.
I hope not.
The Sixers will think, okay, we got this, and they'll slack off a little bit. And I hope some of that rotation that Doc has been used to, where there's too many bench players are out there at once, and this isn't a game in January against Cleveland.
Right, exactly. Yeah, I tweeted that out in the first game. The last 3 minutes of the first quarter, he had an all bench lineup. I said,
we started them in the second too.
Yeah, I don't. Was that a result of the punishing the starters or going with a different? You don't do that in the playoffs, and he's doing it differently tonight. They're playing deeper into the first quarter. But if you're going to take out Embiid, you got to leave Simmons in, and vice versa. Yeah, you have to have one of them on the court at all times. And Harris also. See,
well, that's how that would be my thinking.
Yeah.
And when you look out there and that's not going on, and you look and see the Sixers are down by double digits, you really have to make a question about that.
Right.
It's like, this doesn't seem right here, and
we're killing them tonight.
Yeah, the Sixers seem to be playing very, very well tonight.
Yeah. Atlanta's not the best defensive team, and we're taking advantage of that. Now, what I want to see tonight, or something special, especially I was watching for, is make Trae Young work on the defensive end. You know, playing basketball your whole life, you know that playing defense is going to wear you out and make it tougher to shoot from the outside, tougher on the offensive end.
Well, and the Sixers showed that they have the ability to do that because Young was only 3 for 10 in the second half.
Yep, and they're doubling him tonight almost as soon as he crosses half court. These are the things you need to do, and I don't even say don't full court press. I would go with a full court press. They don't have ball handlers. This team has one ball handler. It's Trae Young.
Yeah, you can't wear out. Well, I don't want to say wear out, but wear down some of your players with that full court press early on. But
you're wearing them down as well.
Exactly. Well, that's true, and that's what I was going to say. But it might not be a bad strategy once you have this. Once you have a 15-point lead now, to throw that on them quick and make that 15-point lead a 20 to 25-point lead, and then let them also have something to think about going forward, that they have the ability to do this and get that in their heads a little bit.
As we see Tony Snell with blood coming out of his nose. Where Tony Snell come from? He didn't play the first game.
No. Is he Eric's cousin or no?
He's the guy that you see the picture on Twitter all the time. The meme of 28 minutes and no stats, 0 points, rebounds, assists, steal.
Yeah,
that's him.
That's him. Yeah. well, one cut already, so that can go to his stat line. He can have that there.
Yep. Oh, and also they called in Tony Brothers, Foster, and the other referee's not coming to mind, but they called in a different referee crew for this game because of all the bad calls in the first game. They have 3 crew chiefs doing tonight's game.
Well, once you miss 30, I think that's a good idea, because that's about what they missed the other day.
Yeah, I know.
My goodness.
I know. And when the Sixers have a bad record with these 3 guys, too. They said they're like combined 5-26 with these referees this season. And they always seem to suffer from bad calls when Tony Brothers is the referee, too. I noticed that. He's been around a long time.
And it was one of those things, too, where everyone was trying to look at the standpoint, well, okay, if Ben Simmons is going to be playing on Trae Young, is it a situation where if Ben Simmons just gets close to him, he starts flailing and flopping, and then all of a sudden the whistles are going, and next thing you know, Ben Simmons has to come out because he's in foul trouble. Can't have that. And
former Sixer Lou Williams checks into the game.
Yeah, and Embiid can't be missing foul shots.
No.
He can't get the Ben Simmons bug here and missing foul shots. But
that's a trade that I wasn't a fan of, that the Clippers gave Lou Williams to the Hawks. I liked him on the Clippers. I think he would have been a big piece for them. They're still my pick from the West, the Clippers. Everybody forgets about them.
Yeah, I right now I just go with the hot hand, the way it looks like it's going to be the Suns, and Embiid missed both his foul shots. So right now, as a Sixers fan, I'm saying there's trouble coming. That could be a sign of trouble coming.
Look at this. Trae Young trying to launch a 35-footer, and Ben Simmons blocking it before it almost left his hand.
Make this a 4-point turnaround here with a bucket here.
That's got to be a tough cover for Trae Young to have a 6'11" center on a forward guarding you that can guard. Look at Danny Green getting blown by again. I think we have to think about not starting him next game.
Yeah, and the Sixers weren't, after that blocked shot, the Sixers weren't able to cash in with the bucket, and Embiid missed again. I don't know if it's a situation with his knee. Hopefully it's not one of those things. An easy layup missed by Ben. Yeah, the Hawks are going to make a run here. It's not going to be the blowout that we thought. The Sixers. It looks like the Sixers just don't. It looks like the Sixers just don't have it in them.
You're listening to Philly Sports Talk on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all of the sports.
This is Cash and Chris. Tuesday nights, and right now we do have the Sixers game going on and a Phillies game going on where the Phillies are losing to Atlanta 1-0. So, nothing surprising in the Phillies game with Aaron Nola pitching. It doesn't matter if he's home or if he's on the road. He will be giving up runs in the first inning, and the Phillies will struggle. And, well, the one thing is, though, probably one of the, I guess the thing you could say about the Phillies, though, one of the best pitchers behind Jacob deGrom throwing for the Atlanta Braves tonight, that being Drew Smyly. That's a joke.
Amazing that the guy's still in Major League Baseball, Drew Smyly.
That's it.
He might throw, what, 89? Tops?
Yeah.
85?
Oh, and an error by, not an error, almost one by
I mean, I like
Bryce
the
Harper.
like.
But you're right.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Drew Smiley. I mean, he's 89, 90, and that's about it.
I'd like to welcome Jay Ron to the show, joining us on our
Oh.
chat board. Hey guys, I just found your show. Welcome. Thanks for tuning in.
You can always download our show on Spreaker.com during the week if you miss us from 8 to 9 or whenever we kind of finish on a Tuesday night.
Or you can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcast.
Exactly.
All 13 of our episodes are on there.
And Cash and I are always available for comments on Twitter, so feel free to make some comments and follow us along and see where we're thinking during the week when we're not talking here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
And tonight's a busy night in sports. We have NHL playoffs, we have the NBA playoffs, we have Major League Baseball regular season, and I was telling Chris before we came on the air, I wish we still had the picture-in-picture. It seems like when TVs first came out, you just could push on your remote, split screen, and it was great. You could watch half the screen one channel, half the screen the other channel. I don't know why they took it away. I mean, I guess some TVs do have it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, and the way I have it set up here in the living room is I have on the main television the Sixers, and I have on the tablet the Phillies. And fortunately, that's something that I'm able to do. But you're right, that picture-in-picture. I mean, that was the big thing back in the day, and they just don't have that anymore. I don't know.
It's because of the streaming, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know if it was the streaming, if it was the stations, if it's something that the sports had to get themselves involved with as well, that they had to be a participant in or not. And maybe they just thought it's one of those things to where you can watch it on your television, and if you want to stream on your phone, there takes care of your picture-in-picture. But not everybody does that.
No. The Tampa Bay Lightning lead the Hurricanes 1-0 after 2. They're heading into the third. That game started pretty early, so that game will be over. It's 1-0. Been a lot of shots by the Hurricanes, and Tampa Bay, Vasilevsky's been solid behind a weak defense. I've never seen a team turn the puck over more than the Lightning. They have such trouble clearing the zone. It's incredible.
But they had the speed to make up for it.
They do, and that's what they do. They try to go with the long pass and 2-on-1s and catch a guy on a break. And when they don't do it, a lot of turnovers.
It's not like when we sit here when I sit here during the regular season and watch the Flyers, when they try to do those things, they're, it's like they're trying to skate through mud. A lot of times going back. Yeah, I wanted to ask you, I know not being the biggest proponent of following the Flyers a lot, and believe me, I understand exactly why.
Yeah.
Do you think Voracek will be picked in the expansion
draft?
Yeah.
Is he's made available? That's confirmed?
Well, that was going to be my question. If you're the Sixers, not the Sixers. If you're the Flyers, you do make him available, correct?
I don't know. What are the rules on the availability? You have to make what? How many players? 10? 8?
I only think it's 8. And I think the thing is, with his contract and the $9 million a year or more, that I think he's someone that they will. I'm not so sure whether he will be picked.
I mean, how old is he? 32, 33?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Would you pick him up if you were starting a team?
I wouldn't.
At that price?
I wouldn't. No.
The Seattle Kraken, they're most likely going to go with young players.
Well, that was going to be my question too. How they would do it? You like to have that one veteran player there. My standpoint, being a Flyers fan, I would. I guess if you leave him available and they don't pick him, I guess that would be a situation where when Voracek comes back, he's like, okay, well, they were willing to let me go.
Yeah, exactly.
But would they be willing to take him to say we need that one veteran there, and is he that guy that's good enough? I would just like to see Jake Voracek in another uniform. That's what I'm saying.
Same thing goes with Giroux. Do you do the same with him?
Going to be my next thing to say too. It would be Claude Giroux in another uniform as well.
Yeah.
Only from the standpoint of what you just said. It's a thing to where it's going to have to be a lot of younger guys, I believe, coming in, and the Flyers are in a situation where they thought some of the veterans, Kevin Hayes to Giroux, Dvorak, JVR, those guys would be able to get them over the top. It's just not working. They've got to get faster, and they've got to get younger, and they've got to get guys who can play defense.
Right. I mean, you're going to have teams that don't even get players taken. So I mean, you might not protect 8 guys and not lose any of them. But like you said, then you're telling them that you weren't wanted, and then that's a different feeling too. Playing for a team that didn't want you.
Exactly.
So
yeah, it's an interesting thing. When we talk about, so one thing I wanted to mention to you when you look at talking about drafts, did you see that it was I guess 11 years ago today, the players who were drafted on this day 11 years ago in the Major League Baseball draft?
What, the specific players?
Yes. Jacob deGrom, Bryce Harper, JT Realmuto,
wow.
Christian Yelich, Jacob deGrom.
So Jacob deGrom's picked 11 years ago. What is he, 30?
I believe so. He was also the 274th pick in the draft.
Wow.
9th round. Amazing.
Ninth round. Every team overlooked him 8 times.
Yeah, and out of all these guys who we look at now and consider to be stars, Giancarlo Stanton as well, and I believe he was in that draft as well. I'd have to go back here and look real quick. And
I was at his first Major League game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was at Citizens Bank Park. Yeah, it was one of those games where my daughter was in the choir and they sang the national anthem.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I was driving down and they had said that it was his first game and this guy was going to be a star. I said, well, save that ticket stub, kidding around. I said it, and turns out he is. He's a superstar.
Yeah, but there's some people in New York right now who won't mind seeing him go because the Yankees have been struggling.
Well, it seems like he never played. He's never healthy anymore.
Yeah, and he's one of those guys where in Major League Baseball we've seen this numerous times, and this has been something we've seen with the Phillies as well. And it was true going back to when the Phillies were good with Ryan Howard. You have to look at some of those guys and realize that even if they're struggling and they're striking out, as soon as they step in the batter's box, they're in scoring position.
All right.
And that's the same way with Stanton. But of course, you don't want to be seeing somebody strike out either.
True. And I'm looking it up. His first Major League game was at Citizens Bank Park, June 8th, 2010.
Yeah.
Wow. That was 11 years ago.
I know.
So how was he drafted? No, I guess he wasn't. That's crazy.
No, I'd have to look here and see what I took a look at.
And he actually had 3 hits in that game against Kyle Kendrick, who if we would have had the show 11 years ago, we'd probably have a Kyle Kendrick segment. I didn't. Him and who they just like Adam Morgan, they stand out as 2 of the worst pitchers.
Goodness. Yeah.
Automatic 5 runs for the other team. So the Sixers.
Yeah, Kyle Kendrick, he actually left Philadelphia, and he was the opening day starter for the Rockies one year,
Yeah.
which was a surprising thing.
The best moment of his time here was when they pulled the prank on him that they had traded him to Japan.
True.
And he actually fell for it.
Kyle Kendrick, he always looked like that guy who you would see, the typical guy you'd see walking around any college campus. You wouldn't have thought he was some professional athlete or whatever.
Well, he actually married a coworker of mine's daughter, Stephanie LaGrossa, who was on Survivor season 1.
Oh wow!
Yeah, he married her, Kyle Kendrick. So yeah, my old boss was his father-in-law.
Wow, one of my all-time favorite TV shows, and they didn't have a new one this season because of COVID. But I always liked that show.
Yeah, I remember Rudy from season 1. He just passed away.
Yes, he did. Yeah, and the winner, Richard Hatch, and then he didn't pay his taxes.
Yeah. Did he end up in jail?
He did.
How about that?
Yeah, kind of strange, but to think that you could win a show like that and then not pay your taxes and try and get away with it, but
I know. The whole world's watching for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking here right now at the 2010 baseball amateur draft, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, Matt Harvey was in that draft. Oh, it says Delino DeShields?
Delino DeShields Jr.
Yeah, I don't know. No, it says Delino DeShields.
Yeah, that's his son. That's Delino DeShields' son.
That's the son, yeah. You're right. Yasmani Grandal was in that draft. Chris Sale was the one I was missing. Chris Sale was the one that I was missing. Out of a lot of the big names and stars, DeGrom was the only one who was still with the team that drafted him.
And Hawks are on a run here, like you said. It's an 8-point game.
Yeah. The Sixers, they don't have the. I don't know. It's the perimeter. It's the perimeter defense, and they just don't have that ability to sustain it. And the Hawks are now hitting some shots. The Sixers have missed a few, and it's an 8-point game.
Yeah.
And
it seems like the Hawks are just determined to keep launching threes no matter what. That's going to be their game. That's going to be their mindset.
Well, and that's the thing too, is as long as the Sixers are going to slack off of them a little bit and allow them to shoot it, they're going to be willing to trade 3 points for 2.
Sure, anybody would.
Yeah, that's not going to be a problem to do that. I was trying to see if there was any other names that kind of stood out here. Well, Noah Syndergaard was in that draft. As we said, JT Realmuto was in the draft.
He hit another home run last night or 2 nights ago in a blowout.
Yeah, the Phillies were up. I mean, that there was kind of a half and half home run, as we've talked about with JT, because the Phillies were still up 3 runs, but they had just given up 3 the inning before. So it looked like Washington was going to maybe make a little bit of a push on Sunday. How long did that game take? Eight and a half hours.
Oh, I know.
I think that game.
I know. It's funny when I heard the home run call, they said it was JT Realmuto's 100th home run, and same thing with Hoskins. He just hit his 100th home run, and it got me to thinking: the Phillies don't have any young guys. They have no young guy worth watching. There's no rookie up and coming player. There's nothing.
Well, in that game,
what?
I believe in that game, also for the Phillies, and how am I forgetting his name quick? The
Spencer Howard.
No, he's an all-around player. Bamboo Brad Miller hit his 100th home run.
An all-around player.
Well, he plays everywhere. I mean, he plays everywhere. From third base to outfield to first to
second base. He's not even a second baseman. I don't think he's ever played there before. They literally throw him anywhere. It's true. Bamboo Brad.
But you're right. That was a game that was the game. I guess it was the game on Saturday where you brought up Spencer Howard, who started. I mean, look, it's just time for the Phillies to realize who he is and move on.
What's he have? Arm fatigue? I've never seen a guy can't pitch more than 4 or 5 innings in a game.
No, what was he eating? Fried banana and peanut butter sandwiches before the game to hope he could have his blood sugar up enough?
Yeah, what is it? Where do they find these guys? Reminds me of Markelle Fultz or something.
It's only in Philadelphia. but I think now when you look at that, what the problem is, okay, he's a guy now who they're going to probably have to give up on. Now they say, well, put him in the bullpen. I don't know. I mean, that's not really what you wanted from your guy who you thought was going to be a future top of the rotation guy.
Right.
And now he's put in the bullpen. And the problem is they've had him being followed up by Ranger Suarez, who has been an outstanding pitcher this year for the Phillies. And it's like, we'll just start Ranger Suarez. No, that's the worst thing they can do. Ranger Suarez is succeeding with what he's doing right now. You leave him right there. If he's a long relief guy, you leave him right there until he blows up.
I agree. Yeah, go with what gets you there.
Yeah, I mean, that's something the Phillies need, and there's no reason to be changing people around and trying to put them in roles and getting them out of a comfort zone.
Exactly.
Did you see the pitch that Vince Velasquez threw that caught the starter for Washington in the face? Wow, that was ugly.
No, I heard. I didn't see it. Was that Sunday?
Yes.
That was Sunday's game?
Sunday's game.
Yeah.
When he squared around the bunt, that pitch was coming right at him. And the Sixers are in some trouble here, Cash.
Look at this. I mean,
they have the bench in again.
That's horrible.
I see why Kawhi was not in favor of Doc Rivers staying as head coach.
Yeah. George Hill just got the ball taken away from him in a coast-to-coast dunk.
Yep. And I don't have the volume turned on to know if the fans are reacting.
They look like they're. Look at the turnover. He better put the starters back in. I don't care how many minutes they have to play.
Yeah, I don't care either. Yeah, you can't go down. You can't lose this one and go down 2-0, especially after you had 15-point lead in this game.
They just look. It's just 3 straight possessions with a turnover. They look like they're playing too fast. They're not relaxed. And this Atlanta team. They're beatable. They're.
Well, let's look at the worst case scenario. Atlanta wins this. They're not beating Brooklyn a game.
No, that's what I mean. They're not a team that's ready to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
There's no way they're beating Brooklyn a game. Brooklyn will outscore them 150 to 135 every game and won't care.
Right.
I mean, that's exactly how those games would go.
Look at this. And they're letting Danilo Gallinari, a guy that's been on, 8 teams? This is bad.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a situation where it's one of those things to where you're looking at a team where you just say, it's the Sixers.
Yeah.
There's always something wrong with the Sixers. I hate that's the truth, but there's always something wrong with the Sixers.
And the wager I have, it would help my way. It would help the Nets if the Hawks won the series, but I'd like to see the Sixers go to the championship. Of course I would.
Oh, of course. Anytime you would bet against the Philadelphia team, you hope that's a bet that you lose.
Yeah,
but it
sure.
it gives you that little bit extra comfort.
Yeah, I have other ones with the Sixers in it, so.
Yeah. It's just, how is this now a 5-point game, which is just unbelievable, and it's probably going to be a 4-point game here in a minute. And what this does too, and you don't know how much of an impact this is going to have on the knee of Embiid either.
Well, I think he's got to worry about that after the season.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you can't. You would have looked at saying, well, we had a game here and Embiid sat the fourth quarter, so that's going to even help him out more going into the next game. And we're looking at a situation here where the Hawks are going to take the lead soon.
Wow. Lou Williams.
Yeah, the Hawks are going to take the lead, and the Hawks probably will have a double-digit lead by halftime. That's the way this game's looking right now, and it's kind of disgusting as a fan.
Another turnover. I mean, this is
Yep.
Furkan Korkmaz can't be in the game.
No,
we thought he wasn't going to get any minutes. He's been in there since the friend of the first quarter.
Doc Rivers' favorite player, I guess. So now we're going to have to look at a situation where we've come to the fact that Tampa Bay, or if you just call it Tampa, is a better sports city than Philadelphia. We can't get to the fact that Atlanta is.
No.
We're just starting to have all these other cities that are better. Because it looks like the Phillies are being the Phillies tonight as well. So
Tampa Bay's won 3 titles in the last 4 years.
With the Lightning and the Buccaneers, correct.
It's more than we've had in the last 40 years.
And Tampa and the Rays making an appearance in the World Series last year.
Yeah.
And always seeming to be a playoff team.
And they are again this year.
Yes.
Best team in baseball, they look like to me.
Yeah, I said that earlier. I was talking to my neighbor, and he was just like, "There's no stars." I'm like, no, but you know where they start and finish? They start and finish with guys who can get people out.
Yep. You can throw hard.
And if you're watching this, Cash, it seems like now instead of getting an open 3, the Hawks can get an open alley-oop against the Sixers.
Well, that's the thing. When Embiid comes to help, he leaves the center. So it's like pick your poison. That's why you can't allow Trae Young to penetrate. You have to stop him in midcourt. And there he is.
Oh, boy. Can we get? Did they make this one? Nope.
No.
I don't know if your TV's a second or two ahead of mine or not.
You said, "Oh boy," I thought it went in.
Oh, I meant, oh boy, he was.
I know.
Wow, because that was a deep three for him. Yeah, here in town, when I'm looking at threes like that, there was a guy here who played for a local high school. He ended up going to St. Joe's Hawks, but what he would do,
who's that?
I'm trying to think of his name right now. He's been a Hawk the last number of years.
Okay.
And oh boy, I'll come up with his name. He was shooting.
Currently?
He last year may have been his last year, and I don't know if he played or if he was injured. I'll get his name here in a second, but he played locally here and played against my high school every year, and he would come right over the half court line and just shoot. Seriously, you would have to guard him at the half court line. He was always able to shoot and make shots from there.
Taylor Funk?
It is Taylor Funk. You are exactly right.
Mannheim Central?
Yes. Mannheim Central is about 20 minutes from where I live.
Okay. 6'8", 215.
Yes.
He's a redshirt junior.
Okay. Yeah, I know he ran into some injury problems.
Yeah, he did. He missed the final 25 games of the 1920 season due to injury.
Wow. He was. I don't know. I had seen the video because his mother was from Columbia, which is my hometown.
I grew up about 5 minutes from St. Joe's campus. I actually took a class there when I was
cool.
when I was in high school. Yeah, we were allowed to take college courses, and I took one there. And we were allowed, since we were taking classes, we could use the facilities. And we just go and play hoops at night. And I was in high school at the time, and Phil Martelli would always be in there, and a lot of older guys be on the courts, and it was cool that you got to hang around and play with some of the team's players were in there on the actual main court where you could sometimes you could sneak in there. It was pretty cool. Got to talk to Phil Martelli a bunch of times. Nice guy.
That's yeah. And I think Phil was a huge reason why Taylor ended up going there. And I remember, I don't know, I think I was maybe watching it, maybe his dad's phone at one of the games or whatever, but he was on the boardwalk in Wildwood, and they have that game where you shoot three-pointers, and he didn't miss. And he didn't miss.
Cleared. He won all the big prizes.
Yeah, where you got to shoot from 3 different spots. And he just went out there and just not. I think the main prize was a 10-speed bike at the time.
Really?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. And Atlanta Braves have taken a 2-0 lead on the Phillies. Shocking that Aaron Nola gave up a ball that it went like 511 feet, I think. It went far.
Who, Acuna?
It was, yes. It was Acuna.
Of course it was. Phillies just love pitching to the other team's best players.
Well, and how's that work out for them?
More shocking is the third inning, and they haven't scored off of Drew Smiley yet.
Well, this is the Phillies now.
Did you happen to catch any of the Mayweather fight over the weekend?
I did not.
Yeah, I didn't either. I just know that it went the distance, and it must have been a pretty boring fight. But
Mayweather won it, correct?
Yeah, Mayweather. No, nobody won. It was a it was agreed that nobody would win if there wasn't a knockout. So I would like to see it. Maybe they'll show it on Showtime in the replay. But how does a guy who isn't a professional boxer go to distance with the greatest boxer of all time? Was it? Did he carry him? I'd have to say it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I guess it can set up the rematch.
The rematch.
Sometimes that's what we'll go into this with the idea of having the rematch to make more money.
It's 8:40 on the west coast. On the east coast, it's 8:40.
That would be 5:40 on the west coast.
Yeah. And we could probably a message from our sponsor and then take a break, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think that might be a good idea of what we need to do, and we'll have some commercials play here for everybody to listen to, and we want to thank everyone for tuning in here on IE Sports Radio. You are listening to Philly Sports Talk with Cash and Chris, You're listening to IE Sports Radio, and IE Sports Radio is your direct feed for all that sports. And before we do take this break, let me talk to you about the Southern California Warriors semi-pro football team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organization. Players in semi-pro sports pay to play in hopes of so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film for a tryout for professional teams, or film so that they can show them to big-time colleges, or what most of the semi-pro players do, they're playing to stay in shape, and they're playing for the love of the game. No matter what, all semi-pro players have that in common, that they're playing for the love of the game. The Southern California Warriors have been on a quest to earn titles and give players a second chance since 2017. Whether you are in Southern California or anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love sports. You yourself may get the second chance that you've been looking for, or if you know somebody who deserves to have a second chance, have them look into semi-pro sports no matter where you are. Cash and I are here in Philadelphia, and we support semi-pro sports. We support the Southern California Warriors. Everybody, check them out today on Twitter at SoCal Warriors. That is SoCal Warriors on Twitter. Also, SoCal Warriors on Instagram. If you go to the Twitter page for IE Sports Radio, they will have information on the SoCal Warriors. And if you also look at the Instagram for IE Sports Radio and Facebook, there is information there for the SoCal Warriors. Guys, support semi-pro sports like we do. Check them out today.
And we'll be right back.
Yep.
Hey sports fans, do you like wine? Well, we've got the show for you. This is Let's Wine About Sports, a show where we talk about wine and sports simultaneously. From the classic Cabernet Sauvignon all the way down to the grapes that you've never even heard of before. Oh yeah, we cover it all. And we'll talk about a little bit of sports as well. Football, hockey, collegiate, women's sports, it doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it all, and we're going to whine about it all. So join me Monday at 8 p.m. on IU Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Everybody, this is Taryn Rodriguez. Are you a fan of volleyball? Are you a fan of Thunderous Spikes? Then I have the show for you, Set Point, where I cover NCAA men's and women's volleyball, high school boys and girls volleyball, beach volleyball, and even professional volleyball. Catch the action every week here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
Welcome in to the Neutral Zone. I'm your host, Robert Kavanaugh, and you're listening to IE Sports Radio. If you like big, nasty hits, if you like slap shots straight to the neck, if you like it when the Well, it's the guys and the big boys get down. And this is your show on IE Sports Radio. This is the Neutral Zone. May our shots on goal always be true and straight to the net. If they are not, may they be followed up, redirected, or change collected. Let's go on IE Sports Radio with me, your host, Robert Cavanaugh, and this is the Neutral Zone.
Back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And the Sixers currently lead by 9 with 1:30 to go in the second quarter. They can't seem to get it out of the single digits and pull away. Atlanta's hanging around. Sixers are doing a good job hitting the threes and using Joel Embiid. And as he hits another three, as I'm saying that, they go up by 10. Tampa Bay leads the Hurricanes 2-0 with 9:20 to go in the game. And the Phillies trail 2-0.
Shocking.
Soon we're going to have a Phillies minute like we used to have. We had that Flyers minute.
Well, I think it's a situation where people need to wake up on Aaron Nola being this tremendous ace that they have. I mean, I think the league's figured him out.
Yeah, and I think we mentioned it last week. It's time to move him. Get something for him while you can.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know if there'd be a contender out there who would like to take that chance on him, or I don't care, move him to Baltimore or something.
I'd rather trade him at the trade deadline. Is Joel Embiid going to the locker room?
It looks like it. Or he's going to take his seat.
Yeah.
1 minute to go. 1 minute to go here in the first half. So he's going to take his usual seat, get stretched out here a little bit.
Oh, that was a foul. Now he's in foul trouble.
Yeah, he got.
How do you have Bogdanovich? Oh, he got into a fight with Gallinari. But how do you have Bogdanovich on Joel Embiid and get away with it? And he ends up getting a technical. Oh, here we go. They're going to throw him out of the game.
Well, that wouldn't be surprising. He shouldn't even get a technical for what happened because all he did was respond. Right. He didn't respond. Now, of course, it's usually the person who responds, but if you can review this, you'll see that he was bumped first.
Yep.
It'll probably be a double technical, and we'll go from there.
Doesn't look like it's only on him right now.
Right.
So what I was saying with Nola is I would look to move him to a contender and try to get a package of prospects back because Phillies farm system is so dry right now. You need prospects. So if you can move him to a team like the Blue Jays, Yankees, Orioles, not the Orioles, the Red Sox. I'm going with this the whole AL East. It seems like even the Mets. I don't care. Give them to the Mets. We need prospects. Find a team with the best prospects and see if you can move them.
I have a very good place where he could go.
What's that?
San Francisco.
They have a good farm system?
It's not bad.
Okay.
Well, compared to the Phillies, now I don't know if Gabe Kapler was that enamored with Aaron Nola because even though Aaron Nola did execute a perfect suicide squeeze to get the Phillies a run here, that I haven't seen done that well in a long time. An actual suicide squeeze scoring out from third base. Oh. But when Gabe Kapler was here back in 2019, coming down the last 2 months of the season, I just remember it's funny. I was talking to my brother, and they put on the screen, okay, these are going to be the following starts for Aaron Nola the rest of the season. I said, well, there's a loss. There's a loss. You can count every game he's going to start. The Phillies are going to lose every one of those games because of what they're doing now. Because they were saying this is what they're going to do. He's going to pitch every fifth day. He's going to carry them into the play. They lost every single one of those starts. And I don't know if that'd be something where, I mean, Gabe Kapler doesn't make the decision, but I'm sure somebody would ask him if he would want Aaron Nola to come there or not. But, yeah, we're looking here at the Sixers game right now with the Sixers being up 8 with a minute to go. I don't know what the ruling was.
It's a double technical and a dead ball foul on Gallinari, which is correct. I don't understand. I thought Embiid was fouled on the play, though.
It looked like he was.
He was pushed from behind as he went up to the basket. How does he not have 2 foul shots here? I don't know. He's out of the game. I'm a little confused there.
Well, once the technical came, he just walked himself off the court.
Yeah, I know. We don't have the sound. I don't have the sound on because we're doing the show. But how could that not be a Sixers foul shots there?
Yeah. Anyway. Well, we talked about the refs earlier.
Yeah, there's a turnover. Sixers need to go into halftime leading by double digits. I don't want to see a 6-point lead, a 4-point lead.
Well, Seth Curry can't be going to the basket either. He passed up that 3 there. Yep. He can't be doing that.
Nah. They hit a 3 right back.
Of course. The Sixers just look like a beaten team right now. Even though they're ahead, they look like a beaten team. You can look at the face of every Sixer out there. They look like a team that's beaten.
It's sad.
Well, my thing is the first person you got to look at is the coach.
Yeah. That's been his Achilles heel. Has been playoff coaching. Doc Rivers. I don't. You have a team that you knew was a contender. Why would you go out and get a coach that's blown 3-1 leads twice in his career, and they give up another 3? I said they'd be up by 10 at halftime or up by 2.
Yep, they're up by 2. The Sixers are not going to win this game, Cash, and they're going to lose this series. The Sixers, for some reason.
I can't see it though. I can't see the Atlanta Hawks in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I agree with you.
If they're playing a different team with veterans on, this team doesn't have anybody.
But the heart of the Sixers is not there. First, I don't get it. It's just because here's the thing. What happened tonight was the Hawks went on that little bit of a run, and the Sixers just deflate. I mean, just look at the guys walking off. I mean, they don't know. They're beat.
This team,
the Sixers are
just like the first game. Atlanta does not miss a 3. They hit every 3 they take. These guys got to be in the 3-point contest next year.
Yeah, and what that's doing is that's deflating the Sixers because they don't have guys who can keep shooting like that with them.
Nope.
And
so basically, you're trading a 3 for a 2, and that's why we have a 2-point game.
The Sixers had, a 17-point lead in this game?
Yeah, it was 26-9, I think. Yeah.
My goodness. And, yeah, I mean, this is, I guess if anyone wants to take the advice, I don't know what the line is now, but, boy, if you took the Hawks earlier, they may have been a +500 or 600.
Yeah, easily. You could have probably got them plus 13, 14 points.
Yeah, you're right. You probably could have, which would have been, oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'd have to look here and see what they put, if anybody had anything on Twitter right now about what's going on here. But this is just something where
it's going to be a heck of a day tomorrow if they lose this game.
It's actually, even the fact that they're up by 2, what's happened here is absolutely unacceptable, you would think. And I don't know what the Sixers can do, except they got to look at, okay, we got to try and score and hope that the Hawks miss.
And it wasn't even Trae Young that killed them.
No.
I'm trying to pull up the stats now for the first half. Atlanta's leading scorer was Gallinari, 15 points. Herder, 12 points. That's 27 points from 2 guys that I don't think they averaged 20 between them. Trae Young only had 11 points in the first half. Clint Capella 4, Bogdanovich 4, Collins 4. Lou Williams had a couple.
I read probably the best comment so far, and I'll see if you like this one. It said, "Imagine if the Eagles didn't win that Super Bowl."
I know.
It'd be like, ugh, what? But I said that earlier on. I said it's going to be one of those things where I know it's a different team. I know it's different players. I know it's a different coach, but it's still the Philadelphia 76ers. And for some reason, this second round is always
can't get out of it.
Yeah, it's Stephen A. Smith made this point the other day about I think it was either him or it may have been Max Kellerman when they were talking about the Knicks and how for years the Knicks were on a it was a second round. I forget what word he used there. What if it was? It's not. They were on like a second round stationary bike where every year they would get to the second, and that was it. There was never anything to get them through that.
Yep.
And then they got really bad. And what they were saying was, well, they got Julius Randle now and a couple guys, and if they try to add a piece or two, they're still going to be a second round team. And unfortunately, that's what the Sixers seem like they've become. And I hope I'm wrong here. I hope they can come out in the second half and prove us wrong. But by the looks on their faces when they walked off, it's like, hey, Atlanta gave us what we thought was their best shot on Sunday. We just gave them our best shot, and it's not working. And I guess you can get defeated, and then again the Clippers were down 2 games to none to Dallas and came back and won that in 7. But I don't want to see the Sixers have to do that.
I'm watching the Tampa Bay game here as Carolina's unleashing shot after shot. And they can't beat Vasilevsky. He's a stone wall behind the net, in front of the net. Be tough playing behind the net. So once again, the normal Tuesday night bash. I talked bad about Tobias Harris, and he leads the Sixers with 18 at halftime.
Yeah, and we've talked bad about Aaron Nola and the Phillies, who are down 2-1 right now to Atlanta, and the Sixers are just frustrating. It's just one of those things to where a lot of what we had discussed and Kev, the one thing for those of you who are listening to us, and once again, it's Cash and Chris, Philly Sports Talk here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all its sports. Tuesday nights is Philly Sports Talk from 8 to 9, and usually we run over. And Cash and I are just fans.
Yep.
We're guys who, we'll look at the stats and we'll try to make some good points and some things, but we're not sitting here going through and analyzing everything. We're just fans looking at this. And hopefully we're just an extension of you guys who are fans as well, and we're trying to sound like you guys would if you guys had a show like this. And if he and I were sitting at a restaurant someplace eating some chicken wings or some crab fries, we could probably be saying the same thing that we're saying right now on this show. And it's frustrating because we'd like to be sitting here saying, okay, the Sixers have that 18-point lead, and it looks like Game 1 is going to be something of a distant memory, and the Sixers will be looking good next week when we come on and be heading into the Eastern Conference Finals. But when you look at it now, like I said, you just look at the faces of the Sixers, and they're like, I don't know. They're like, they got that deer in the headlights look. It's like, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no matter what we do, we can't pull away from these guys. It's a team that we didn't think would be here.
Yeah, you're right.
Although I did show you that bet that guy made, right? The $20,000. Did I send that?
To win $2.8 million because if Atlanta, is it Atlanta to win the Eastern Conference?
Both.
And then also,
It was two separate bets. It was $20,000 to win the conference and $20,000 to win the championship, and they both hit. Obviously, they would both hit if the championship happens. It would be $2.8 million. I think they were 60-1.
Unless James Harden can't play and the Achilles comes back again on
Durant.
KD,
Yeah,
and Kyrie gets. I don't know what Kyrie can get every now and then. It doesn't play.
Personal reasons.
I'll say this right now: the Hawks may get themselves through the Sixers because, and if they do, I don't think that's saying so much about the Hawks, even though it does say a lot about them. It says much more about the Philadelphia 76ers.
I mean,
and the Hawks will get swept by Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like every year we're talking about the Sixers coach. Maybe it's the players.
Yeah, and they brought in two guys who were on the championship team last year. I guess it's no shock why they're not on that team this year, even though they did get eliminated in the first round. But that would be a thing. I will trade the Sixers getting eliminated next year in the first round if there's a parade this year.
Yeah.
I'll take that trade all day. But you're right. And one thing, though, that was a question mark was, can the Sixers get some firepower from the outside? They brought in Seth Curry to make some threes. And it just seems like we're sitting here frustrated. Now, of course, the Sixers can win this game and go on to win the next three, and there not be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't see that happening from what I've seen right now. Hopefully, what we've done the last couple of weeks, where we're talking about the Phillies, and the Phillies are either playing well on a Tuesday when we're talking bad about them, or they come back and win those games. So hopefully that's what happens tonight.
I sit here and I said that about, maybe it's the players. They are. They're a defensive team built in a offensive league, and it's a league where you need scoring, and that looks like the Hawks.
But they're not good enough to defend the perimeter.
Right. And that's what the Hawks. The Hawks are an offensive team. They played zero defense, and it's working out for them, and it's working out for Phoenix. Phoenix is a scoring team. They're not a defensive team at all.
Utah does play some defense, but Utah's their main thing too. It's the same thing. They got to be hitting those outside shots, or they're in trouble.
Right. They have Rudy Gobert, defensive player of the year somehow, but
right. But that's we. How does that happen? I guess he had that one really good year, and he's put up some decent numbers defensively since then, and it's just carried over. Yeah.
I got to hand it to the Carolina fans. They're down 2-0 in an elimination game. They come back from commercial. The fans are standing on their feet, waving the towels like they just won the Stanley Cup. That was Philadelphia. They'd be streaming out to the exits.
True, they would be, and they would want to be getting rid of AV. And I guess that's an interesting thing too. Circling back there to hockey, I think the smart thing for the Flyers to do would just say, look, we're not doing this anymore. He's the coach, and the guys try and make this work, because you can't be changing coaches every year.
I know.
It just seems like,
and then they always go somewhere else and win.
Yeah, right. From Peter Laviolette to David Hackstall to some of the other coaches that they've had recently, and they've gone on to have success. And hopefully with some of the people who are picking different players and building the team for the Flyers, they'll put some players together so next year when we're having this conversation, we'll be talking about Flyers playoff games. As Aaron Nola gives up another home run. I don't want anyone defending him anymore on Twitter.
You won't see me defending him.
No, and it's sad. It's sad. It just becomes one of those things to where you see a guy who was third in the Cy Young voting a few years ago, and he's been terrible since then. I mean, absolutely terrible. Yeah.
Every time he pitches, the Phillies Twitter put it's Nola Day, like Nolan Ryan's pitching.
I put out yesterday. Yesterday seemed like a holiday because no Philadelphia team would lose.
And Tampa Bay wins. Tampa Bay advances to the semifinals.
Yeah. Well, and if that's going to be against Montreal, right?
They've reseeded, so I don't know yet. Is it definitely? I think it could be the Islanders or Boston.
Or Boston.
Yeah.
Well, either one. Either of those teams against Tampa Bay is going to be an interesting series.
Yeah. Last year the Islanders played Tampa, and Tampa swept them, I believe.
I think you're right.
They beat them 4-1 in the bubble.
Well, they would have done the same thing if the Flyers had won that Game 7 last year.
Yeah.
Did the Flyers even play Game 7 last year? I know they had that game.
Yeah, they did.
It was 4-0 once.
Yep.
I don't think the Flyers showed up.
Only the Islanders showed up for the game.
Yeah, after they had to win in overtime in Game 6.
So Tampa Bay just finished 4th in their division and beat the first and second place teams in consecutive rounds. So they're playing really good. 5-1 on the road in the playoffs, which is what the Sixers are going to have to do if they want to advance. They're going to have to win a road game, maybe 2.
Yeah, well, in this series at least.
Yep.
yeah, something going forward. But I don't. Like I said, I'm just shaking my head.
Yeah.
I mean, the owner of the Hawks is a woman who was Jamie Gertz.
Okay.
You remember her, the actress?
No.
I'm trying to think. She had a little bit of a role on ER, and she was on a show called Still Standing. It was a sitcom with.
How'd she make her money?
I think it's who she married.
Okay.
But, I mean, she was an actress on a lot of shows. I don't know. Were you a huge Seinfeld fan?
I mean, I've probably seen most of the episodes.
The episode where the woman couldn't spare a square.
Okay, that was her.
That was Jamie Gertz. She ended up being she ended up being a phone sex worker that was revealed at the very last second of the show.
Okay, yep.
But
Does she owns the Hawks?
She was there at the draft. I believe it was the draft last year or a year before, and I think it's either her.
Yeah,
she's a part.
Tony Wrestler. Yeah, Tony Wrestler.
Yeah.
He's worth $4.6 billion.
Oh.
Married to Jamie Gertz. You got that right.
Not a bad life for him. A little bit of money, an attractive woman. Looks like his team is going to make it to the Eastern Conference.
I said Anthony. His name's Antony. Is he Russian?
Oh, Anthony. Okay.
Anthony. Oh, he owns Apollo Global Management.
Okay.
The equity firm. I heard of him.
He doesn't own any other sports teams, right?
Yeah, Milwaukee Brewers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, minority owner.
Wow.
I don't know what percentage.
Isn't that strange now, Cash, how that is, where guys will own different teams in different cities?
Yeah, like the Sixers, for example. Yeah, he owns, Harris owns the Devils. Yeah.
The Devils, yeah. And he's got some interest in the Mets, too, right?
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't the Tampa Bay owner, the Lightning, doesn't he own, like, Chicago White Sox or something?
It's something like that. Because when it comes up to it, because it was like, okay, here in Philadelphia, I mean, for the longest time, the same person was the owner, technical owner, operator, and everything of the Flyers, and that was Ed Snyder.
Right.
And also the Sixers. He was more the face of the Flyers.
Right.
But he had just as much to do with owning the Sixers. And you look at the guy, I guess, I don't know his name, but I guess he still owns the Tigers and the Red Wings. He's got Little Caesars Pizza.
Oh, right.
Is how he made his money. He's there in Detroit, but nowadays, if you're like, okay, well, if I get a couple billion, I could own
whoever you want.
The Arizona Diamondbacks and the Winnipeg Jets.
All right.
but hey, if the offer's made to me, why not?
You're talking about Mike Ilitch?
Yes.
It was actually it wasn't what'd you say, Little Caesars?
It wasn't Little Caesars?
It is, yeah, it's Little Caesars, yeah.
Yeah. Little Caesars Pizza.
Yeah. How about that?
Yep.
He actually died.
Oh.
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
2017.
Huh.
Mike Ilitch.
I don't know if he had some family that took over or not.
I guess so. But so it's weird when you type in Tigers owner, he's who comes up. Still.
Yeah.
He still owns them from the grave. He must be frozen. I will always own them no matter what.
He had, well, if you look at it too, I mean, he had some success there. I mean, the Tigers were a good team for a number of years, and the Red Wings had a dynasty for a little bit there, and what you could call a dynasty in the 90s.
Sure, definitely.
And
Embiid falling again.
Well, at least he got 2 points from this one.
It's a nice shot, left-handed shot, and they come right back with a three.
It's an air ball for no rebound.
And this is the end that they struggled on Sunday, right? The Hawks they shot from this end.
It is.
Yeah.
But the Sixers can't be giving up offensive rebounds to the Hawks. Now, I know Atlanta only had 3 offensive rebounds in game 1, but it seemed like a lot more.
Look at Danny Green.
Oh, my God. I was listening to, I think it was yesterday, I was listening to another talk show here in Philadelphia, and the person called in, and it was funny because it was kind of the same thought that I was having, too. I didn't think as much as he did, but it was like, and the Hawks were killing them on the offensive board, and that can't go on. And it was like, well, wait a minute, let's look at this. And it was like, the Hawks only had 3 offensive boards, and it was like, wow, it just the way that game was, and the lead, it just seemed like they had more.
Well, they didn't miss many shots. There's not many offensive rebounds to get.
True. Yeah. This is ugly. The Sixers, they have no energy
Against a team that can't defend them. They're not spread. Simmons is just standing there.
And he has to shoot threes.
Yeah, it's all in. That was a 2, but it's
that was a 2. Yeah, but it was a distance shot. Yeah,
it's all Embiid. They're taking Trae Young out of the game, and still losing. Not losing. They're winning by 2, but it feels like they're losing.
Yeah. Well, from that big lead that they had earlier, it does. And see, that's the thing too. Right there is the Sixers' problem. When you have Ben Simmons bringing the ball up, and he's going to stop as soon as he hits the paint.
Right. And then when Thibault's in the, that's what I was going to mention earlier. And then when Matisse is in the game, you only have 3 players that can score. I've always said that. Solomon Hill.
And if Atlanta's knocking down threes, there's going to be a problem. Yeah. But see if Danny Green.
Jeez, he is off.
Oh no. See now that's where I run into the problem because right now he's got to come out of the game.
Yeah.
I don't care if you got to put Shake Milton in the game.
Yeah, his last 2 shots haven't been anywhere near going in.
No. He's definitely got to come out of the game, and I don't know because you just can't let him out there to kill you. Like I said, if this is game 40 in Sacramento, nobody cares about Danny Green's shots like that. I mean, I care, but
yeah. There you go.
It's over and done with. But Seth Curry's got to keep making it.
It looked like they weaved. Okay, on it. Okay. So, with the no sound on it, looked like he hesitated. He's 5 for 5 from 3. Seth Curry came to play. How about Daryl Morey's tweet about telling Steph to come join him in Philly? He got fined $75,000 for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Tampering. They called it tampering. As they get Ben Simmons for a delayed 3-point shot from Trae Young.
That's the other thing too here.
That's a joke.
I've been going through reading this on Twitter. The refs, and this is the thing, Cash.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much you think about this or buy into this. The league hates the Sixers.
They may hate the Sixers, but I don't think they want them losing tonight.
I don't think they'd mind if the Sixers did or not. And there's one word for the reason why they hate the Sixers.
Process.
One word, that's the word. Yeah, we had talked about numerous times here on the show. We had talked about pro wrestling, and a number of years ago, I think I mentioned this. I didn't go far enough because I wasn't thinking the other week. The last WWE show I went to was in Wildwood, New Jersey, and it was before they had a pay-per-view the next night, and the next night they were in Philadelphia for the pay-per-view. I think it was called the Great American Bash, and the main event was Randy Orton against the Great Khali in a I'm trying to think of a Punjabi prison match. It's a very bizarre wooden steel cage with like 3 levels and different sections. Anyway, my whole point about making this was it was a guy I listen to all the time. Every week he has a podcast, and he does a post pay-per-view podcasts and different things on YouTube. His name's Jason Solomon. He goes by Solomon. So anyway, that night at the pay-per-view was so boring they were chanting "Trust the process." He came on and he was like, "Did somebody explain what that means?" He's not a basket. He's like, "What were they chanting?"
Did you explain it to him?
No, but somebody else went through. I was actually on vacation in Wildwood at the beach and all. And so, but someone else came in real quick and was saying what that was, and he was like, "Wait a minute, those people, it was that bad and it was that bad at the pay-per-view."
I'm surprised you didn't hear Eagles chants.
Yeah. you're right. There may have been one there, and I apologize. I said that wrong. It was not Randy Orton against the Great Khali. The Great Khali came in to cost Randy Orton the match. He was taking on that night Jinder Mahal. I apologize for those wrestling fans out there who would have corrected me on that.
Randy Orton's the son of Cowboy Bob Orton.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember watching him when I was a young kid. I've been watching the show WWE's Most Wanted Treasure. It's pretty cool. You'd probably be interested in that. It's the current stars of today, or of not the current star. It's the stars of like the Undertaker, Kane. The episode I saw, they go and try to get their merchandise back.
Yes, Mick Foley trying to get some stuff back. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I watched the one with Kane. Kane is actually a mayor in Tennessee now.
Yep, Knoxville, Tennessee.
Knoxville, Tennessee.
He's Mayor Kane and Glenn Jacobs. Mayor
Glenn Jacobs. And he's not the Undertaker's brother.
No, he's not. Maybe in storyline as Kane he is, but he's a guy who always has an interesting spot for me because I had, like I say, growing up as a huge wrestling fan, and there was a pay-per-view, and it may have been, I think that pay-per-view may have been SummerSlam that was in Philadelphia.
Okay.
Or it could have been a pay-per-view that they called In Your House, because it was in your house. It was a September pay-per-view in Philadelphia. And the next night, what WWE used to do is they used to tape Monday. They used to have one live Monday Night Raw per month. And Monday Night Raw was only on for an hour from 9 to 10. And then what they would do is that they would tape the same night the next 3 weeks. And they were in Hershey, Pennsylvania, which is 45 minutes from me. And so it was a big night. They taped 4 episodes of Monday Night Raw. Well, the Glenn Jacobs thing was, the big rumor that night was that Razor Ramon and Diesel, who had left to go to WCW, were coming back. And what the storyline was, they had 2 other guys fill in and play those roles, and Glenn Jacobs played the role of the fake Diesel. And then he started out in WWE playing a evil dentist named Isaac Yankem.
Do you remember Kane's? I'm sure I'm never going to get you with a wrestling trivia.
You might.
What was Kane's original name before he came to the WWF?
Was it Unabomb?
Yeah.
Yeah, Unabomb. Yeah.
There's not one he doesn't know, folks.
There may be one out there, but yeah, I had to think a minute about that one, and and for those of you who are checking in the Phillies game, Bryce Harper with a long home run, they cut it to 3-2.
All right.
But the Phillies not able to push another run across there. An outstanding catch by I guess that's. I'm trying to think who's in right field tonight for the Braves.
No. I'm thinking it's the guy for that Florida picked up or Miami picked up.
No, is Ozzy Albies?
It could be Albies. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah. I can't think of his name.
He made a bad play on the ball and recovered very well. It looked like it was going to be played into a double, but he ended up making the catch. So they're going to the 5th inning with the Phillies down 3-2, and we're still being frustrated here with the Sixers.
Nate McMillan's telling Trae Young to speed it up.
Yeah, he sure is.
He's telling him to get the ball and go. As soon as they make a shot, go. And that's what they just did. They beat the Sixers down the court. A younger Atlanta team, I guess. Yeah, I guess they're going to think that way. I just saw a stat. Go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead.
I just saw a stat. It said Embiid, Curry, and Harris have 64 the Sixers' 73 points tonight.
Wow.
So it's not a balanced scoring attack by any means. Danny Green's been horrible. Ben Simmons has, I think, 4 points, but that was expected. I expected Simmons not to score much, but his job tonight was to stop Trae Young, and he's pretty much done that so far.
So far, and they need to get this here. They need to push this lead, and then hopefully Atlanta plays a 4th quarter like they did the other night. Yeah. But what I did want to ask you, and I was waiting for this talk actually, was how did you enjoy that NASCAR race?
I was just gonna say that. I was shocked to tell you to tell you the truth. I didn't think Kyle Larson was a road racer, which he wasn't. He never won a road race, but I guess he could do it all. And
I mean, he's second right now in the point standings, very, very close to Denny Hamlin.
Yep.
And
I think you're seeing a future superstar.
He might be one right now.
Yeah, he already is a superstar, but I think you're seeing a future, a multiple champion.
Yes.
He's with the right team. He has everything going for him. And it's a sport, frankly, that needs a star right now because Kyle Busch and Denny Hamlin and Kevin Harvick, they're getting older.
Joey Logano as well. You're right.
Yeah, Martin Truex. And I think that the future is going to be Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson.
Yeah, you would have to look at it that way. And you're right. When I saw how well and what was going on, especially on that road course out there in California, I was like, my goodness, I knew he was coming on, but I'm like, okay, this is something different. And being a longtime NASCAR fan and everything, that was very, very eye opening.
Yeah.
To see that take place and hey, all I can say is good for him, and I think it's good for NASCAR. Even though my personal opinion, I think Denny Hamlin should be winning every race. But if he's not, what's going on now, I think is outstanding at NASCAR. And once again, they have looked up where they are this weekend?
It's the All-Star race.
Okay.
Yeah. And amazing, well, not amazing, because I know what Kyle Larson did, and I know he served the suspension. He can't get a sponsor.
Yeah, well, that's going to change.
He can't. He drives a car. It says HendrickCars.com on it.
Yeah. Well, IE Sports Radio would look pretty good on there.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. Where are we getting the money to sponsor him?
That's true.
Oh, I'm thinking our show. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Larry, there would be a great sponsorship for you for one of those NASCAR races. Or
we could probably get on pretty cheap. They're currently making nothing, so.
have that on there.
We pay for the paint job.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be so? We'd have to get bigger wavelength for our bandwidth for our show.
He wrecked third lap probably. No, of course not. He would absolutely win that race.
Matt DiBenedetto is going to have a new crew chief at Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He's actually had a disappointing season, DiBenedetto. I thought he was going to maybe win a race or two this year.
Well, and I guess is NASCAR off for Father's Day, which is in 2 weeks. I don't know if they race on Father's Day or not.
They haven't had a week off yet.
Yeah. I guess were they off Mother's Day? I think was it either Easter or Mother's Day? They were off one of them.
They were? I thought they raced every.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, maybe.
I think they were off Mother's Day though.
Okay.
And those of you watching the Phillies game, Acuna now with a double. I mean, you saw that tweet a number of months ago that someone put out where that fan was yelling behind JT and Bryce Harper that you'll never be as good as Acuna. He was saying the name wrong. I don't care how he was pronouncing that name.
You'll never be as good as Acuna.
It might be Acuna.
It's true.
But but you could call him Smith or Bray Smith or Jones. He's better than
anybody the Phillies have.
Oh, it's not even close.
He'll never
be.
I
want to know why the Phillies can't find someone like him.
Nothing, because they don't have an international scouting department.
Well, international guys can hit a ball too.
I know they picked a guy up a few years back named Jalen Ortiz, who he
hasn't turned out yet.
No, but I know they signed him when he was like 15 years old. Mm-hmm. I haven't checked. I used to check his stats, and it was nothing special, but he was young, really young. I mean, he's a power hitter, so. Maybe we can remember that name. And Cornelius Randolph, who they picked 10th in the 2015 draft, I'm finally starting to see him winning like minor league player of the week and hitting like 520. So maybe he's coming into his own finally. He's a shortstop.
Yeah, there's a couple guys who you will see blips about here and there.
Yeah.
But
Abel also. I think Abel's the next pitcher coming up.
But it's one of those things now to where when you mention something there with the minor league, I guess the one thing we hadn't spoken about with the Phillies that was kind of news this week was the fact of Scott Kingery being completely removed from the 40-man roster. which isn't shocking.
They still have to pay him.
Yeah, they do, and the Iron Pigs have themselves now a lifetime player.
Yeah.
Not lifetime, but
So he has to play. He has to show up then.
I am not sure how that works, but I believe so. I believe he's now an Iron Pig, unless someone else.
I don't think teams are going to be lining up to pick him up. All they have to do is watch the tape, look at his stats. The Sixers have gotten to the point where it's every time down the court it's going to be Embiid.
And they're letting the Hawks hang around.
Look at this.
Way too much. And the Hawks are going to win this game, Cash. As soon as the Hawks take the lead, the Sixers will wilt. That's just my fear here. And look at the Hawks' energy on offense compared to the Sixers.
Yep.
They
Look at Simmons. Simmons walking into the corner, standing next to Green. I mean, this is horrible.
Yep.
Simmons isn't even attempting to score. Oh my God.
They can't stop them. They cannot beat the Hawks. And I'm gonna say this now, and someone's gonna think I'm gonna sound foolish. If the Sixers lose tonight, they lose both in Atlanta. You can kiss it goodbye. Because if you can't have energy for a game 2 when you're down 1 at home, how are you gonna pick it up on the road?
Yeah.
I mean, and do you think Atlanta's gonna shoot worse at home? Maybe they will, but
I'm speechless right now. I can't believe that the Bogdanovich is doing this. He's a guy who was in Sacramento who I play a lot of fantasy basketball, and he's a guy that would score 20 one night and then he would score 2 the next. It was so inconsistent. He's out here tonight like Steph Curry in the first game.
Yeah, it's just like I said, once Atlanta gets over that hump and takes the lead, I would say that would probably pretty much bury the Sixers here.
And the Sixers
game
during the regular season, they were a team that transition points and fast break points. They would turn their defense into offense. They're not even getting a chance to do that. Where's Thibault? I haven't seen him tonight.
No, I haven't either.
How do you not put him? Danny Green needs to go sit on the bench, and Matisse needs to be in the game.
Like I said, I don't care if it's Shake Milton in the game or
Maxey.
Yeah, Maxey or
Need a
Hill
spark.
in the game.
Who?
Put Hill.
Yeah, they need a spark. Green's worthless right now.
Yeah. You can't go to Korkmaz, but
He's been in too. All right, folks, we'd love to stay on and finish the game, but we have a show up next. Gloves off with Marcus. And any last thoughts?
Oh my goodness! Hopefully next week we're talking about Sixers basketball.
Yeah.
Well, we will be talking about Sixers basketball.
Yeah, either way, we're going to be talking about Sixers basketball.
Hopefully we're talking about Sixers basketball games, not anything where we're looking at a situation where they're out of it.
And who we're trading Ben Simmons for.
No, and that's true. What we have following here on IE Sports Radio is the boxing show. So any of you out there who are boxing fans, or if you know boxing fans, you have them check out Gloves Off on IE Sports Radio, or on Spreaker.com, or anywhere where you can pick up, if it's on Apple, where you can pick up that podcast, because you will be covered for all of your needs and everything that's going on in the boxing world.
Yeah, and I'm sure he'll go over the Floyd Mayweather fight.
That's got to be first and foremost. Yeah. So definitely check that out. Go in on the message boards as well. That's always welcome. And follow on Twitter. We are Cash and Chris, Philly Sports Talk on IE Sports Radio. IE Sports Radio is your direct feed for all that is sports. And before we go, one last time, guys, just let me remind you of the Southern California Warriors. The Southern California Warriors are a semi-pro football team, and the world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports world or sports organization. The players of semi-pro sports, they pay to play in hopes of many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get film, to try out for professional teams or big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all players of semi-pro sports have one thing in common, and it's the one thing that Cash and I support the most, and that is having the love of the game. So no matter where you are in the world, check out your local semi-pro sports, but also check out other semi-pro sports. And a great place to start is with the Southern California Warriors. You can do that by checking them out on IE Sports Radio's Twitter. You can also check out the Southern California Warriors on their own Twitter at SoCal Warriors. IE Sports Radio Instagram, IE Sports Radio Facebook has all the information you need on the Southern California Warriors. The Southern California Warriors have been giving players in semi-pro sports a chance since 2017, and they've been trying and having a quest to earn titles since 2017. Southern California Warriors, check them out today, guys. Thanks for listening tonight. Go Sixers.
See you guys next week.